You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Oh my gosh, we are in the middle of a special series where I'm walking you through my do both framework. Remember, this isn't just a tagline, right? Because I always say you can do both. You can build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. But it's actually a framework and a system that I take my private coaching clients through to help them build wealth and enjoy life at the same time and to really experience freedom and peace of mind. So here's a quick recap just in case you're just joining us. Episode number 146, I gave you a 10,000-foot view of the entire method, the full framework that shows you how to create lasting financial success without depriving yourself, without restriction, but just through being very intentional with your money. So I gave you a nice view of the full framework, and now we're just going deeper into each component. So episode 147, we looked at the first component, which was all about vision and reigniting your ability to dream again and to think of what is possible for you and what you want your life to be like. So many of my clients, they want to retire in their 50s. They don't want to wait until the full retirement age of 67, you all. They don't want to do that. And so if that's the truth, if that's your dream, if that's really a desire that you have, we have to take it from just being a wish to actually making it a vision for your life and then letting that vision pull you forward so that you can start taking action so that it becomes a reality. And then episode number 148, we dove into the second pillar of the Do Both method, which is all about values-based spending. Basically, that's all about spending on what matters to you and really relentlessly cutting out things that do not, right? Because when we spend on any and everything, we prevent ourselves from really being able to do both, build wealth and enjoy life, because our money is going everywhere instead of to places that truly matter to us and to building wealth. And so if you haven't listened to those yet, go back and listen to those episodes because they truly are important because they're a part of the whole framework. So you can listen to this first and then go back and listen to those as well. And today we're focusing on what I think is the most important pillar of them all, emotional money management, because if you do not master this concept that I'm going to teach today, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You can make multiple six figures. It will literally slip through your fingers. Okay. So today's pillar to me is the most important one because it is what is preventing many of you from building wealth the way you think you should. This is why you feel like you should be further along. It's because of this piece right here. So make sure you really, really listen to all that I'm going to have to say today. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that every single month I open up a few spots for new private coaching clients. So if you've been listening to the podcast and you're finally ready to make a lasting change with your money without having to give up your lifestyle, without having to go on a strict budget, but you're ready to do all of these things I've been talking about, then you're invited to book a complimentary wealth building strategy consultation where we'll look at where you are financially, where you want to go, and I'll tell you how I can help you to close that gap in private coaching. If that is you, if you want one of those spots, all you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult. That's Jermaine with a G, Foley.com/consult, or you can also click on the link in the show notes and it will take you right to the page to book your session. And I will just say to you, hey, if you've been thinking about it, thinking is not doing. Let's stop thinking about it and let's start doing something different, right? Listening to the podcast for many of you is just not enough. For some of you, you're going to take everything I say and you're going to apply it, right? We talked about this last week. None of you need me. You can do this on your own, but some of you want accountability. You know yourself. You need accountability, support, guidance. someone to talk to on a consistent basis so that when, you have this plan that you're ready to follow, but something comes up, okay, I have a coaching call with Jermaine coming up. I'm going to be able to get back on track. I know that even though I went off the rails a little bit last weekend, I know I have a call with Jermaine and she's going to help me to get back on track. That's the beauty of the calls. It is not just to talk to me. It is about figuring out why you're not doing what you know you should be doing. Everybody knows what they should be doing. We all know what we should be doing with money, but we're not doing it. And so if that is you, private coaching could be the thing that will change everything for you, because we'll get to the root causes of why you're not doing what you know you should be doing so that you can really take your finances to the next level, not just for money's sake, but for peace of mind's sake, for feeling financially secure, and for getting to the point where you actually feel free when it comes to money. Again, if that's you, you're invited to book a consultation with me. All you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult. All right, let's get into the episode. So this pillar, emotional money management, is the one that makes or breaks everything else. It's the leak that quietly drains your progress if it's not addressed. Because here's the truth. You can make 6 figures or close to it or multiple 6 figures. But if you do not know how to manage your emotions, that income will literally slip through your fingers. This is the pillar that determines whether you keep what you earn or lose it through impulsivity and just overwhelm and emotional mismanagement. Without this pillar being under control, you'll overspend your high income and keep wondering, where in the world is all my money going? You'll struggle to stick to the value-based spending concept that I taught you last week. You're going to be spending not only on what matters, but also on what doesn't. So you're going to be spending money on things that really will not move your life forward. You'll stay stuck in the credit card debt cycle, paying off the same balance over and over again multiple times, sometimes with your bonuses, other times with 401k loans, and then other times with 0% interest transfers. And the problem with this is it oftentimes leave you in double the debt, right? You pay it off with the 0% interest transfer, but then you haven't addressed the root cause of why you were in debt in the first place. So you end up going deeper into debt. So now you have double the debt, right? You go right back in. Without it, you'll also hit ceilings with your savings, right? You probably have some money saved now, but it's not how much you want. It doesn't make you feel financially secure. Most of you want 20, 30, maybe even 40K in savings, and you can barely push past 10K. If that's you, emotional money management is probably something you need to work on. And then also it will limit your ability to build wealth beyond just the basics of maxing out your 401k or getting your match, because there's so much more wealth to be built other than that. That's basic. Getting your 401k match and or maxing out your 401k. That means you're putting in the most you can put in by law every year. That is just scratching the surface. There's so much more wealth you could be building beyond that. But if you're overspending because your emotional money management isn't intact, you're preventing yourself from getting to those bigger goals that you may have, like retiring in your 50s, being work optional in your 50s, doing things that you really want to do, having that freedom to pivot and do the things that you really want to do in life. So when emotional money management isn't in place, it's not a small leak. It is the leak that drives all the others. So I want to say this because this is what separates me from a lot of other personal finance coaches, money coaches, or experts. I'm talking about this not from theory, but because I lived it. This is the piece that kept me stuck for so long, you all. I knew how to budget. I figured that out. I knew how to pay off debt. I knew how to save, but I wasn't doing it. And the reason why I wasn't doing it was because my emotions were not managed, because I kept overspending when I was bored or lonely or when I had time to kill. And that's what caused me to repeat the same financial cycles over and over again. Now, this is also the piece that helps my clients break the cycles as well. It's the missing piece that you can't get from just reading books, listening to podcasts, or just downloading the next app, right? This kind of emotional awareness and behavior change happens through deep coaching. This happens through not coaching just one time, but being in a container in a situation where you know there's someone who's going to help you get to the bottom of why you're not building wealth. Even after you make mistakes, even after you get off track, right? It's about learning how to get to the root causes of what's preventing you from doing what you know you should be doing. So now I want to share with you one of the mindsets that shifted everything for me, and it shifts everything for my clients. I call it the 50-50 principle. Half of life is positive emotions, and the other half is negative, right? So if it means that half of your life you're going to be happy, joyful, confident, right? You're going to feel good. But the other half, you'll feel stressed, bored, anxious, lonely, or overwhelmed, or even frustrated. And all of that is normal because nothing has gone wrong when you feel a negative emotion. And we have been sold this bill of goods that we're supposed to feel good all the time. We're supposed to be happy all the time. And so we use things outside of us to alter our emotions when we're not feeling a certain way. Some people do it with alcohol. Some people do it with food. But us, the majority of us listening here, you, me, and everybody listening, it's shopping, it's spending. That is how we make ourselves feel better, okay? But most people don't know that it's actually normal to feel bad sometimes. It's normal to not feel happy all the time. That is the human experience. But when we're trying to escape the human experience and we think we should be feeling good all the time, this is when we have issues, right? Let's go back to drinking. If you are constantly drinking over your emotions, you might become dependent on alcohol and become an alcoholic. And there are health consequences and relational consequences that you'll have to deal with. If you're constantly eating over your emotions, again, there are consequences to that. You may end up with health problems like diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, weight gain, right? Those are all the things that you could experience. And then if you're overspending, if you're constantly spending over your emotions, you'll end up in debt, less money, more stress, less peace of mind, less savings, not investing, not building wealth, constantly beating yourself up because you feel like you should be further along because you make so much money. But the reality is you're not, because you're using your money for something that it was never designed for. You're using it to alter your emotions. And when you do that, you will not be able to build wealth because, again, it's part of the human experience to sometimes feel bad, to sometimes feel frustrated, to sometimes feel anxious, lonely, bored, overwhelmed. And you do not need to fix it with something outside of you. Instead, you need to learn how to soothe yourself from within. But again, most people don't know that. So when they feel a negative emotion, they rush to fix it. And it's usually with something outside of them because they want relief. And again, one of the fastest, easiest ways to get that relief is by spending money. It's through shopping. You open your favorite shopping app just to look. You run into Target or Ulta or Sephora just to see what they have, just because you need to kill some time. You buy something small for that dopamine hit and it works. That's the thing. It does feel good in the moment, but only for about 5 minutes. This is why so many of you get packages delivered to your door and you don't even have the energy to open them because the dopamine hit has already faded. You don't even know what's in the boxes, and quite frankly, you don't even care. And you let them pile up and they just sit for weeks before you even open them. But the emotions that you're trying to escape, boredom, stress, loneliness, they come back tomorrow, even way after the boxes have arrived. And you've added guilt and now financial regret to the mix. The goal here isn't to avoid negative emotions, you all. I need you to hear me. That's not the point of life. The point of life is not to avoid negative emotions. The goal is to learn how to feel your feelings without trying to fix them with spending. And when you do that, everything changes. So I know that I've named quite a few emotions, but here's something I want to tell you. From what I've seen, boredom is one of the most common triggers for emotional spending. It's sneaky because it doesn't feel bad. It's one of those really sneaky emotions, right? It doesn't feel bad like anger or anxiety. It feels more like an emptiness. But what you do when you're bored could literally be the difference between being financially, I'm okay financially, and being wealthy. Think about it. You're at home after a long day, mindlessly scrolling and adding things to your cart just because you're bored, just because you don't have anything else to do. You're between appointments. Maybe there's a gap between your hair appointment and dinner with friends. And you think, I've got time to kill. Let me just run into Ulta or Sephora to see what they have. Or maybe you're traveling for work alone in a hotel and you're bored. You don't have anything else going on. And so online shopping feels like company. These small, seamlessly harmless moments compound into hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month spent just from emotional impulse spending. And so I'll say it again. What you do when you're bored can be the difference between being just okay financially, right? You're okay. You're not that bad, to being wealthy, to being like, I'm rich. I have a lot of money. I make a lot of money and I have a lot of money. Like that is who I am. And listen to me. If you are someone who's making six figures or close to it or multiple six figures, that could be your life. You can feel rich. You can feel wealthy. You can be it as well. Not just feel it. You can actually be it. But we've got to get control of what those leaks are, right? And for a lot of us, emotional money management is an issue that we need to fix. And it's something that we very rarely hear about when we watch TikTok videos about how to budget or how to save or how to get out of debt, right? This is the missing link. This is the missing key. And this is what I specialize in, helping you to get to the root causes of why you're not doing what you should be doing. And most of the time, it's because your money is leaking out through emotional spending. You're using your money to make yourself feel better. And that is not your money's job. It is not your money's job to make you feel better. That's your job. And until you learn that skill, this is a skill, then your money will keep disappearing. It will keep slipping through your fingers and you'll keep wondering, where in the world is all my money going? And like I said, this is a key pillar to the Do Both method. It's one piece of it. All of them are important, but to me, this one is the reason why all the other pieces fall apart. Okay, so since we're talking about boredom, because I think this is one of the main reasons why a lot of us emotionally spend, let's talk about the two different types of boredom. There's situational boredom or acute boredom that happens sometimes, and then there's that boredom that's just always there. That's the chronic boredom or the boredom that is persistent. So if you're having a day where you just feel a little bored, right? And you know that's something that triggers you. When I'm bored, I overspend, I shop. Then number one, you got to become aware of that trigger. And then you want to think about, okay, while I'm in my logical brain, my prefrontal cortex, the part of my brain that wants me to build wealth, using that part of my brain, what do I want to do instead when I'm feeling a little boredom after work acutely, right? It's situational. It's not something that's chronic. I just sometimes feel bored. What do I want to do? Here are a few examples. You could say, okay, when I'm bored, I'm going to watch this series, or I'm going to read this book, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to take a bath or a nap. You can literally decide ahead of time using your prefrontal cortex, the higher part of your brain, to decide what you're going to do instead of shop, right? That is something you can do. Now, if you are experiencing that persistent boredom, it's always there. It's like every day you're bored. After work, it's like every single day. Then that is something deeper that you want to explore. And so the best way to do that is just to pull out a piece of paper or a journal and just ask, why am I always bored? You will be surprised at what your brain will give you, what will come out of you. You will get all the answers you need. I want you to know all the answers you need are inside of you, but you have to be willing to let them come out. So write without editing yourself and see what's coming up. Sometimes it's like, okay, I need more connection in my life. I want to be in a relationship. I want more friends. I want a hobby that I really enjoy doing. I feel unfulfilled in my career. Maybe it's time for a career pivot. Maybe it's time to start that side business you've been dreaming about, right? And you've been putting it off. And so Instead of getting to the root cause of why the chronic boredom is there, you're spending over it. And then once that high of the buy wears down, the root cause is still there. The problem is still there. So the root cause could literally just be that you're craving a relationship. Maybe you're single, you're craving a relationship, and you've been too afraid to put yourself out there. Or it could be, it's time to pivot in your career, but you're afraid to make that leap. And you're bored, right? Or you've got this passion inside of you. You've got this talent or gift inside of you that you want to give to the world, but you're scared, you're afraid. You keep telling yourself that it's not going to work. And so again, you're bored because you're not living that fulfilling life that you're called to live. And so if that's you, once you do that journaling exercise, then the challenge is to decide if you're going to let fear or worry or doubt prevent you from living a fulfilled life, right? And so this is the kind of work that I help my clients get deep into. And this is why a lot of my clients, they end up making more money when we work together, because we do find that there's more inside of them, right? And the reason why they haven't been building wealth is because they've been covering up the root causes of their spending. And once we can get rid of that, then not only do they end up making more money, but they also end up using their money in a way that really is fulfilling, where they are enjoying their lives and they get to build up their wealth. This is why clients save $5,000 just within the first few months of working with me. This is why clients get out of debt and stay out, because they learn these things. So here's how we're going to wrap things up today. Emotional money management is what allows you to do everything else in the do both method. It's what gives you the capacity to stick to your values-based spending without giving up. It allows you to follow through on your financial goals, even when motivation fades. It allows you to get out of debt and to stay out. It allows you to build up savings that actually last. And it allows you to invest in your future, even when short-term impulses are calling your name. It is literally the foundation that determines whether your high income builds wealth or slips away. And when you learn to feel instead of spend, that is when you take back control of your life and your money. Again, if you want help with this, because this is not something that usually people can do on their own. Sometimes you can, but usually having a coach who is skilled in this. That's why I am a life coach and a money coach. I have so many concepts, tools, and strategies to help with this piece that you won't get from a book about money, right? So if that is you, if you want help and you've been thinking about it, I want you to stop thinking about it and just do it. Go all in on yourself, invest in yourself. You will not be sorry. All you have to do is book your wealth building strategy consultation at jermainefoley.com/consult. Remember, I take on a couple new clients every single month. And if you want to be one of them, all you have to do is book your complimentary call. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.